Welcome to Divine Therapy Inc. As we enter this 29th sanctuary, I invite you to expand your awareness beyond the walls of the room you occupy. Imagine your presence radiating outward like a ripple on a glass still lake, touching the edges of your neighborhood, your city, and the very atmosphere of the planet. Take a breath that feels like it's connecting you to the respiration of the entire world, inhaling the oxygen of the forests, exhaling into the shared space of all living things. Today, we are discussing the ripple effect and universal responsibility. We are talking about the infinite web, the realization that no act is isolated, no word is unheard, and no life is small. This is a story for those who feel insignificant, for those who think their choices don't matter, and for anyone who has forgotten that they are a vital architect of the collective reality. This is the story of a man named Silas and the vibrations of the thread. In a city of gray stone and iron gates, where the people believed in the doctrine of the island, there lived a man named Silas. In this city, the citizens lived by a single, cold motto: mind your own business. They believed that their lives were independent bubbles, that their actions only affected themselves, and that as long as they didn't break a law, they owed nothing to the world around them. Silas was the most successful islander of all. He lived in a penthouse of soundproof glass, he worked in a cubicle of high walls, and he prided himself on his neutrality. He was a man who walked through the world without leaving a footprint, or so he thought. But the psychological weight of this radical disconnection was a profound, numbing coldness. Silas felt a sense of ghost existence, the feeling that if he disappeared tomorrow, the world would not even notice. Because he believed his actions had no impact, he lived without intention. He was careless with his words, indifferent to the suffering of others, and disconnected from his own passions. He suffered from a famine of meaning, a condition where the soul starves because it has no sense of purpose beyond its own survival. He was a man living in a vacuum, a single note that refused to be part of a song. One evening, while walking through a deserted park, Silas saw a spider's web stretched between two iron railings. It was covered in dew, and in the twilight, it looked like a net of diamonds. Silas, in a fit of idle boredom, reached out his finger and lightly tapped a single, tiny thread at the very edge of the web. To his amazement, the entire structure, nearly 3 feet wide, vibrated instantly. The spider, resting in the far center, didn't just feel the movement, it reacted as if the entire world had shifted. Silas tapped a different thread, a thicker one, and the web pulsed with a different frequency. He realized, with a sudden, jolting clarity, that there was no such thing as a small touch. Every movement on the edge was felt at the center. In that moment, the park around him seemed to dissolve. The trees, the benches, and the city skyline were replaced by a vast, shimmering grid of silver light that stretched infinitely in all directions. This was the infinite web. Silas saw that he wasn't standing on a park path, he was standing at the intersection of a billion luminous threads. In the center of this cosmic grid sat a woman whose hair was made of starlight and whose fingers moved with the speed of light. She was the weaver of the infinite web. "You have been living as an island, Silas," she said, her voice sounding like the hum of 1,000 violins. "But an island is just a mountain whose base you cannot see. You think your choices are private. You think your anger is silent. You think your indifference is harmless. But look at the threads." She showed Silas the anatomy of the ripple. She showed him how a single, sharp word he had spoken to a clerk 3 days ago had traveled through the web, causing that clerk to be short with her child, who then felt discouraged at school, who then gave up on a dream that would have changed a life 10 years from now. Silas saw the shadow ripples of his carelessness, a trail of minor devastations he had never intended to cause. "But look at the other side," the weaver said. She showed him a moment when Silas had held a door open for a stranger and offered a genuine smile. That small spark of warmth had traveled through the web, giving the stranger the courage to ask for a raise, which allowed him to buy medicine for his mother, who then lived long enough to teach her grandson a secret that would one day heal a village. Silas saw the golden ripples of his kindness, a legacy of light he had never known he was building. Every breath you take is a vibration, the weaver explained. Every thought you hold creates a frequency. You are not an inhabitant of the world, you are a company creator of it. There is no such thing as an insignificant person, because every person is a junction point for 1,000 threads. If you move, the whole web moves. If you shine, the whole web brightens. Silas spent what felt like an eternity in the web. He learned the sacrament of the intentional vibration. He learned that responsibility is not a burden, but a power. It is the ability to choose the frequency you send out into the world. He realized that the meaning he had been looking for wasn't in his own happiness, but in the quality of his impact on the web. He returned to the city of Grey Stone, but he was no longer an islander. He didn't live in a bubble. He walked through the streets with a sense of profound, holy caution. He spoke to people as if he were touching a diamond web, with gentleness, with presence, and with an awareness of the vibration he was creating. He didn't just mind his business, he made the web's business his own. He started a center of connection, a place where people were taught the art of the ripple. He showed the citizens that their lives were not independent, but interdependent. He taught them that the way they treated a waiter, the way they spoke to their spouse, and even the way they thought about themselves in private, was shaping the future of the world. The city of Grey Stone began to shimmer. The doctrine of the island collapsed, replaced by the symphony of the web. Silas lived the rest of his life as a master vibrator, a man who understood that his greatest achievement was not what he acquired for himself, but the beauty of the ripples he left in his wake. If you are watching this today, and you feel like you don't matter, if you feel small, invisible, or like your choices have no impact on the vast, chaotic world, please know that we see you. We know the heaviness of the island lie. We know the exhaustion of living without meaning. We know the fear that you are just a speck of dust in a hurricane. But at Divine Therapy Inc., we want to remind you of Silas's discovery. You are a diamond thread. You are a vital, structural component of the infinite web. There is no such thing as a private life. Your joy is the world's joy, your healing is the world's healing. Every time you choose compassion over judgment, every time you choose courage over fear, you are sending a golden ripple through the entire universe. What is the vibration you are sending out right now? Are you sending out a ripple of not enough? Or are you sending out a ripple of presence? Imagine yourself now, standing at the center of that shimmering silver grid with Silas. Look at the billion threads connected to your heart. Feel the power in your own fingertips. You don't need to change the whole world at once. You just need to touch the thread in front of you with love. Your life is the center of the web. Take a deep, interconnected breath. Feel the pulse of the whole world in your own lungs. You are not a spectator, you are an architect of the ripple. And the beauty you create today will vibrate through the ages, long after the stone cities have turned to dust. Thank you for trusting us with your journey through these 29 stories. May your ripples be wide, may your touch be gentle, and may you always know the infinite power of your own existence.